that history's ever created. I'm not committed to nonviolence in any way.
Man or woman who hates communism the most, that is to say, the man or woman who knows the least about communism, is the man or woman who wants to know the least about communism. That is to say, snakes are my enemies. They come to bite me, and I don't even want to know what they look like.
We're going to see about stopping, regardless of what these people think we should do. Because school is not important, and work is not important. Nothing's more important than stopping fascism, because fascism will stop us all.
Yo. Welcome to the Forest Podcast, your spot for economics, global geopolitics, anti-colonization, Western downfall. See the forest for the trees. This is me, Comrade Villa, and I'm here with Pretty Bad Comrade, aka
Comrade Lab, aka the Pretty Face Villain.
Yeah, BKA Comrade Lab. People should do BKA more.
What's that?
Better known as.
Oh.
Yeah, I like that better.
I like that.
But yo, what's going on, man? What's cracking? What's poppin'?
Same old. We here.
Still alive.
Still alive.
Haven't been deported.
No, but these deportations are pretty crazy. You know, I keep saying, like, I watch the news in the morning, like an old person now. Wake up, turn the news on.
Hell yeah.
Like the local news. And,
Hell yeah, it's a responsible citizen. Channel 3, baby. WEAR. Is that what you're watching?
Nah, it's like it's on that Haystack News app.
Oh, okay.
They don't have WEAR on there for some reason.
But it's still local news?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like more mobile.
Oh, got you. So like probably a CBS shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're out of.
What you seeing about ICE in the local news?
Well, just like, just random raids and stuff.
Yeah.
Like people getting busted, construction sites, people crawling off the roof trying to get away from ICE and shit.
Damn. Like construction workers?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the ICE list?
No, I don't think so.
It's in, it's on the internet. But there's like two groups in Oregon, I want to say Portland, created this ICE list. And the Department of Homeland Security says it's doxing, that they're doxing these ICE agents.
Oh.
One of them.
That's why they say they have to wear the mask and all those. We got to protect our family.
I mean, they were wearing the mask before. They're getting doxed because they're wearing masks and they're not wearing any badges or not identifiable.
Right. Okay.
But the two, I read over the DHS.gov article where they talk about it. It's called, or the title is "Anarchists and Rioters in Portland Illegally Dox ICE Officers and Federal Law Enforcement." If they would have just legally doxed them, it would have been cool. But they fucking illegally.
What's the legal way to dox somebody?
I don't know. It's a dumbass thing to say. But yeah, there's two groups that I'm gonna pull up the name of the groups. It's Crustian Daily. It's a weird name. I wonder what that means. And then like the Rose City Counter Info is the other one. But the Crustian Daily, their website, they have it's like a database they're trying to build, but it doesn't give away addresses. It doesn't give away like family members, or because that's what it says in this DHS article. It's like, oh, they're putting out addresses and family members and getting them targeted and all that.
You're right.
At least the Crustian Daily is not. They'll put in their like Facebook links and LinkedIn links, and I did check some of them. They're legit profiles. At least they don't have no picture, which I'm assuming their job probably said take a picture off social media, but they all say like ICE in their profile and stuff.
Right.
So that's what that one site is doing, and then the Rose City, whatever that was, Rose City one, they actually have created flyers with their people's addresses, at least 3 people's addresses, and they're like handing them out.
Dang.
So one person that was on the flyer, one ICE officer had his yard littered. There's pictures here. They have a sign that says "fuck you," and then whatever his name is. They have it blurred out in this article, and then it says "ICE is trash," and there's a bunch of trash that they just threw in his yard. So,
dang,
that's I guess that's doxed. You got doxed there, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe don't be an ICE agent.
Yeah. Maybe you're a public official and you're like snatching people up off the street. Don't be wearing a mask and pretending you can just do that anonymously.
Right.
So I'm in support of it. Fuck it. Dox them. Dox away.
Hey, man. The president doxed somebody on live TV, so.
I know. So we're just following the example of our dear leader.
That shit was funny, though.
Oh, yeah. And this is another thing I found while I was looking into this. There's a poem called La Migra. And it was written by Pat Mora. I'm assuming in Spanish, but it's translated in English here. I'm going to read it real quick.
Okay.
It's about ICE and immigration. La Migra apparently is a slang derogatory term for ICE.
Oh.
But it's only 2 stanzas. It's, let's play La Migra. I'll be the border patrol. You be the Mexican maid. I get the badge and sunglasses. You can hide and run, but you can't get away because I have a Jeep. I can take you wherever I want, but don't ask questions because I don't speak Spanish. I can touch you wherever I want, but don't complain too much because I've got boots and kick if I have to, and I have handcuffs, and a gun. Get ready, get set, run. And then the second verse is like flipped from the opposite perspective. It says, let's play La Migra. You be the border patrol. I'll be the Mexican woman. Your Jeep has a flat and you have been spotted by the sun. All you have is heavy hat, glasses, badge, shoes, gun. Maybe it was written in English. This does rhyme some. Anyways, I know the desert, where to rest, where to drink. Oh, I'm not alone. You hear us singing and laughing with the wind. Agua dulce, brota, aqui. But since you can't speak Spanish, you do not understand. Get ready. And I guess that means sweet water flows here. So
Aquí.
Here is aquí, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's been aquí?
Come here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to just show like the power dynamic, or not power dynamics, but how power can flip. Like you would think the ICE, Border Patrol, whatever, government, American government has all the power in these situations till you get a fucking flat tire, bro. And then you need that illegal immigrant to give you some water.
Right.
All of a sudden, you don't really care so much.
Right.
So, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty cool poem.
No doubt. La Migra.
Yeah, La Migra. That's what I'm calling ICE from now on.
Me too.
I want to look into like what the slur is or where that comes from. But yeah. You saw about the Epstein files.
What Epstein files? See what I did?
Exactly.
See what I did there?
Nice. This might be the thing that finally gets Joe Rogan to turn on him.
Yeah, I saw something, and I don't know if this is true, but it was like a headline talking about Joe Rogan confronted Trump at a dinner about his ICE. Yeah, did you see that?
I didn't see that he confronted him, but I have seen there's a couple times on his show now he's just like, I just cannot believe what's going on. I think if he would have told us he was going to do this, we wouldn't have voted for him. My mind is just blown.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have foreseen this. So, yeah. Anyways, the Epstein shit. Yeah, I know. Well, did you see it? Somebody, there was that, it wasn't a press briefing. What's it like when he has his cabinet sit around the table and they just fucking talk? I guess the news watches. I don't know what that is. It's a open public cabinet meeting.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
One of the news reporters asked Pam Bondi, I want to say she's the AG, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
About the Epstein
She's from
shit.
Florida.
And Trump jumped in and was like, are you talking about this? Why was he talking about this?
Yeah, I saw that clip.
Dude, Marco Rubio, his face is like, what the fuck? I can't believe this guy's saying this.
Yeah, I saw DJ.
Oh, yeah, he mentioned that in the Discord.
In the Discord, yeah.
But, and then they released the video that's supposed to be like, here's the video from the jail, which originally they said the cameras was broken, which is crazy. Now they got a video. And then the video, there's like a minute that's edited out. Did you see that?
Mm-mm. No, I didn't see it.
There's a minute, like the last minute, like 59 to 12 or whatever. It just edited out. It just like skips. It's crazy. Why would they put that out? And then so they're like, oh, we're looking into that. And then Pam Bondi was like, oh, it turns out this jail surveillance system. It's old. It's from 1999. It runs on tapes that, I don't know, reset every day, and like that 1 minute of time is always missing. We're gonna go back and look at the other tapes and make sure that same minute is missing. What the fuck are they doing?
Wow.
Like, I don't know. They should have just never talked about it again.
Yeah, it's very weird.
How do they explain the deep state now that they have power? I don't understand that part either.
What do you mean? How do they explain the deep?
Because I'm assuming, and what I've seen in the past in the right wing propaganda is like, oh man, Trump
how
would
do they
definitely let the
explain-
Epstein
okay, I see
shit
what
out,
you're
but this is the deep state. Won't let him do it.
Right.
The fuck are we talking about, bro? This man is doing whatever he wants.
Well, he's not releasing Epstein tapes.
But like, what is the CIA?
They're keeping them from releasing the Epstein tapes. That's what it is.
The pizza parlor? Is that the deep state?
Yeah, look, we've talked about the deep state
I know
thing
that you,
before.
I don't know. Go say what you're gonna say.
Well, I was just gonna say. I mean, I think there is a deep state insofar as it's just the national security state, and I think that there are probably like rogue elements in the national security state. There's probably people who don't agree with Trump.
Do you think the national security state would be like, I don't want these Epstein files out?
I don't know. We don't know what's in them. So, if there's
I mean, if
people
there's a
who are
prince that
still
was caught up in it.
yeah, if they're still using whatever leverage.
Oh yeah. You use all that shit for leverage.
Right. That could potentially be a reason why they don't want to release information about it. I don't know. It's hard to know. But there's
it's funny because like they're obsessed with it on the right wing. They fucking have this weird pedophile obsession. They love fucking talk about Epstein conspiracies. Look, man, it is weird. I don't know if he killed himself. That shit's weird. I don't really care as much, but it's just funny that they're having this meltdown now because they finally have the power. It's almost like you said you were going to release the Area 51 files. What happened to that?
Yeah.
You said you were going to release the JFK conspiracy files. What happened to that?
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, I think...
deep state got him. Fuck.
I think there is, like I said, I think there is a deep state that wants to keep this information classified. They don't want people to know just how involved they are with certain things. The same reason why we don't know a lot of the MLK stuff is still classified as well.
Right.
A lot of the COINTELPRO. I don't think we have all the COINTELPRO information.
No, what we have from the COINTELPRO is what they stole when they broke into the FBI office. So, yeah, that's a great example of the deep state. I don't know. I know in their minds, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, and I hate these people.
Right.
They're like running some crazy pedophile ring, and that's the deep state.
Right.
Like,
yeah, they have a very like a caricaturized version of what the deep state is. Like if you care about the deep state, then you also got to care about like all the CIA coups and
Yeah, you're right.
They don't.
But they have to support that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
But
yeah,
they're against U.S. aid, even though it was using the CIA, or the CIA was using it to manipulate shit. So it's weird, man. They're all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you don't have like
a real ideology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, well, fuck Jeffrey Epstein. Fuck Diddy. I can't believe he got off. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of shit going on in the news. Those are the main things. Any main things you want to talk about before we get into your little segment?
It's not that little.
I'm
it's probably too long, actually. I'm trying to figure out what I want to leave out still. But
okay.
I think there was something I wanted to mention. No, we'll circle back.
Microphone adjust. Yeah, we can touch it on anything else on the end too. All right, well, let's take a quick break and then we'll start your segment.
All right.
And we back like chiroprac. All right, comrade. Take the steering wheel.
So today we're going to talk about a lot of different things.
Hell yeah.
But it's going to be focused around like third parties and like...
Let the party die.
independent organizations outside like established party organizing
Okay.
type deal.
Hell yeah.
So basically, the idea here is I just want to. We've been seeing a lot of news about other people starting third parties and
Yeah,
and all
America
that.
Party.
So I thought, and we talked about this a little bit last episode. We were talking about Zoran Mamdani
Yes, sir.
and
The DSA, the PSL.
yeah, all that. So I thought it would be a good idea to like kind of go over a little bit of a history of third parties. So that's the idea behind this. So I'm gonna start with the abolitionist movement. The Republican Party actually was born out of the abolitionist movement, which
What?
many people don't know that. That's why.
See, I knew the Democrats were the racist.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they say that.
Yep.
So, anyway, so I'm going to be doing a lot of reading, just forewarning. Here we go. So the Republican Party today, it might feel like the furthest thing from a radical formation, but it was born from one of the most transformative third party movements in the U.S. history. It began with the Labor Party in 1840. It was a small group of abolitionists who broke from the dominant Whig and Democratic parties. These were not just reformers. They believed slavery was incompatible with democracy and that no political compromise could redeem a system that normalized human bondage. Some of the main figures in this party were James G. Birney and Garrett Smith. The Liberty Party's strategy was both moral and tactical. It used elections to raise the cost of pro-slavery politics and challenge the legitimacy of compromise. Though they never won national power, their ideas did catch fire. Later, it evolved into the Free Soil Party and by 1848 with a broader coalition, including disaffected Whigs and anti-slavery Democrats. The Free Soilers ran Martin Van Buren. Shout out to MVB.
The Van Buren boys. Do you know what that is?
No, what is that?
On Seinfeld, I'm pretty sure this was Larry David's idea. There's an episode where George Costanza wants to join a gang for some reason, but he doesn't want to join a real gang, so he joins the Van Buren boys. And it's like a gang named after that president, Van Buren.
Really?
But they're like a preppy gang.
A preppy gang?
Yeah, so
Van
it's like a
Buren
safe
boys.
gang. It's really fun. Fucking Seinfeld. Good.
So yeah, Martin Van Buren was, I guess, one of the heads of this party. He was a former president. They ran on a platform of free soil, free speech, free labor, and free men. All right. Their demand no expansion of slavery into the Western territories. And out of this momentum, the Republican Party was born in 1854. Forged in the direct resistance to the Kansas-Nebraska Act.
Like Bleeding Kansas, like we were talking about with John Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, wasn't that not John Brown? Didn't we?
What do you mean?
Bleeding Kansas, was that?
He was there for, John Brown.
Okay.
John Brown was there for Bleeding Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was I thinking about? Oh yeah, you mentioned that movie.
Oh yeah, that was the
It
Free
ended up
State
being
of Jones.
Free
Yeah,
State
that was
of Jones.
something different.
Okay, yeah, it was something. It absorbed the Free Soilers program and positioned it as the party of anti-slavery capitalism. By 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected president. But the real story is this. Abolitionists built political power through independence, not loyalty. They forced a party realignment by refusing to compromise, organizing through literature, newspapers, town halls, and grassroots electoral campaigns. And of course, people like, Frederick Douglass were very instrumental in pushing this abolitionist program. So I thought I would start there. Just a lot of people don't know that history, so that's just a brief summary of that history. Is that a lot of times you hear these arguments that, you can't do a third party here. Third parties is too hard, blah, blah,
It
blah.
won't work.
Well, one of the major parties came from a third party, and it's, rarely talked about. And people act like this history is so long ago. But this history, it's not that long ago. I'm sorry.
Our country is young as fuck.
Exactly.
Like,
I was just about to say that.
castles in Turkey that are thousands of years old.
Right.
Like our oldest building's like what, 300,
Right.
200, and that was like at the very beginning. This was like what, 1800s,
Yeah, middle 1800s.
1850.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, not that long ago. And again, that's why Lincoln was a Republican.
Right.
Because of exactly what you're just saying.
Right.
This is what the Republican Party was born out of. And also because of the way Republican Party is today, Republican doesn't mean like fascist. Like the IRA are Republicans, the Irish Republican Army.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially just like a republic. It's supposed to be like you're just overthrowing monarchy or whatever your colonizer is, your
Right.
oppressor is. Like you're creating a republic. And it sounds like Republicans are like, we need to do this. It's almost like a reset because we fucked up when we started with slaves. We need to
Right.
make a real republic here. We're Republicans.
Yeah. So I just thought that's interesting history, and it needs to be understood more. I don't feel like I really knew that until later. I don't know if I learned that in high school. If I did, I wasn't paying attention. But
I remember hearing about the Whigs, so they probably were like that turned into a Republican.
Right.
But even in high school, I didn't learn about like the switch or whatever, like what's it called when they did the Democratic strategy and the
Southern strategy.
the Southern strategy and the big swap or whatever. Like I didn't learn about that till later.
right.
So this is part of the reason why this stuff is confusing to people. Like, oh, what Lincoln wanted to free slaves, but he's a Republican. Oh, so
Right.
confusing.
Exactly.
But what's interesting about everything you're saying, real quick before I let you go on, I was listening to Best of the Left on the way here, which I haven't listened to in a while.
Oh wow, it's been a while since I listened.
It's been
to
a
this.
long time. And they had a little clip from Adam Conover, fucking
Yeah.
whatever his factually correct show.
Adam ruins everything.
Adam Ruins Everything. That was his TV show. I love it.
Yeah.
But he had somebody on. I didn't look who the guest was, but that guy was saying why third parties have not been able to work in America. Or no. He was saying why labor parties haven't worked in America.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, he was saying there hasn't really ever been a labor party in America, which you said the Whigs were and the Labor Party and the Whigs is what created the Republican Party, right?
No, I don't think I said labor.
You said labor. Did
I say labor?
Some kind of labor party. But that guy was saying like, look, and it's because this is why there's the liberals are centrist and Republicans are right wing, and the rest of the world has a left wing socialist party.
Right.
He was saying it's because in America we got democracy from the jump after the revolution, whereas the rest of the world, all of them overthrew their monarchy or whatever through a labor party, through a working class movement. So like they had to create it to get their democracy.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. I don't
Yeah,
think
I was like,
about
that's
it that
pretty
way.
interesting. Yeah.
Right.
And there was like two other factors, but like that was the biggest one in his mind. But I don't know. I never thought about that before.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that either. You were just listening to that, huh?
On the way here, yeah, because I was
what a
trying to figure out what I was
coincidence.
going to talk about. Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, so we're gonna move on, and I'm just gonna be using a lot of different examples of just third parties and like independent organizations. So we're gonna talk about the populist movement a little bit. We're gonna fast forward a little bit to the late 19th century. You'd find another way of the independent ferment, this time from the agrarian South and Midwest. The People's Party, better known as the Populist Party, was born in the 1890s from the Farmers Alliance and Grange movements. They were sick of being crushed by railroad monopolies, bank foreclosures, and the gold standard, which made credit scarce for rural people. At their 1892 convention in Omaha, they issued a platform that today would sound almost revolutionary. Public ownership of railroads and telegraphs, a graduated income tax, the direct election of senators, the right of workers to organize, sub-treasuries to store and finance crops. I'm not really sure what sub-treasuries are. I have
Me
to look
neither.
into that a little more. And yet many of these ideas became a law decades later. The 16th and 17th Amendments, the New Deal labor protections, proving that radical demands made from the margins can reshape the center. But the populists faced a fatal choice in 1896. Fuse with the Democrats or maintain independence. They chose fusion. when William Jennings Bryan absorbed their platform
I've
and
heard that name
lost to.
before.
Yeah, I've heard it too. I'm not really too familiar with him though.
Yeah.
When William Jennings Bryan absorbed their platform and lost to McKinley, the populist movement began to dissolve, absorbed, betrayed, and defeated.
Can you, real quick, how would you define populism? Because I know you sometimes say like Trump, he has some populist policies.
Right.
And populism can fall, I guess, on either side of the spectrum. But
Right.
how would you define it? What's populism?
I think it's, just to put it like very plainly, it's like a popular movement or popular.
Like there's a popular want for anything, but it could be anything. Is that what there's no ideology behind the populism?
I mean, not necessarily. I mean,
Could be
usually there is a ideology that goes along with the populism.
Right, like nativism or
Right.
isolationism or something like that. But
Right.
could you have populism for the global capitalism, internationalism? If everybody's like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like, I don't know, Reagan in the 80s, was that populism?
I don't think that's.
No?
No, that doesn't feel right.
I hate to think that, but I don't know. I've always struggled with that word because I'm not sure what it means other than popular.
Yeah, I think it's got to be rooted or grounded in some sort of.
Or maybe it's just like ideas that transcend like weed, like legalizing weed. That's a popular thing that pretty much anyone across any political spectrum is like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think
there.
there is some class orientation involved.
Okay.
When you're talking about populism,
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay.
right?
Because it.
I don't think you can have a populist agenda and it be pro, like ostensibly
against the
poor
people's interest.
Yeah, exactly. So you were just referring to like global capitalism. I don't think that would be.
Classified as.
Yeah.
So okay, so populism by definition probably has some, not equality. What's the egalitarian tinges to it? Like it has to be some kind of this is for the oppressor or the oppressed people.
Yeah, it's got to be rooted in some like popular demand from like working
From the
class
bottom.
people.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's cool. I just
That's what I would
thought
say.
about that makes sense. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you good. So so that was pretty much it for that section. But a lot of people don't know about the populist movement. I forget. I didn't have it here, but it had it in something else I was reading. Tom Watson, I think was his name, was one of the leading voices in the populist movement as well. Oddly enough, he ended up turning into like a virulent racist later in his life. So there you go. When you're talking about
Racism's pretty popular in America.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes to your point. Like there could be, Hitler was had a populist movement.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
So, but I think it's important to understand that, this particular history when it comes to populist movements, these movements start as organized outside, and this is sort of a theme you'll see here in a lot of these, outside party establishment. And because they are popular movements and that have some, grassroots mobilization, a lot of these policies end up being adopted by mainstream political organizations and later absorbed into those parties.
To prevent them from being a viable alternative. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Gotcha.
Right. And that's essentially what happened to the populist movement.
Okay.
All right. Next, I want to talk about the Hammer and Hoe Black Communists in Alabama. Hammer and Hoe is actually a book by Robin D.G. Kelly. I haven't read it. It's one of my books that I want to read on my to-read list. Yeah, one of many that I'll probably never get to. But
Hammer and Hoe.
Hammer and Hoe.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did want to talk
like
about
hammer and sickle.
Yeah, I think that's the idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
So in the 1930s, another kind of a third-party organizing was taking place, one far from the ballot box and deep in the red clay of Alabama. As Robin D.G. Kelly chronicles in Hammer and Hoe, black sharecroppers and factory workers in Alabama began to organize under the banner of the Communist Party, USA. They weren't just reading Marx in Birmingham. They were resisting beatings, evictions, and lynch mobs while building solidarity across race and class lines. The Communist Party's strategy was uniquely suited to the South. Mass literacy and education in rural areas, legal defense work such as the Scottsboro Boys case, organizing industrial workers and farmers often undercover, and using churches and cultural spaces to bridge radical politics with black Southern traditions. They linked economic survival with revolutionary politics, and they called for an end to lynching, for union wages, for land to tiller. Their message was freedom was not just about civil rights, it was about class power. Communists were not just preaching revolution from the outside, they were learning and adapting to black working class traditions. That's a quote from Robin D.G. Kelly.
Hell yeah.
Though deeply repressed, the black communists in Alabama laid the foundation for civil rights and black power movements and their independent political formation and refusal to rely on Democratic Party structures is a model of movement rooted socialism in the United States. So that's a history that a lot of people don't know about.
No, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, that there was black communists, and this is mainly in Alabama.
You would think I know, but you would,
Yeah.
as a, I guess you could say communist, but whatever. I thought I knew the communist movements in America.
Right.
That's wild. Okay.
Yes.
Well, there's probably a reason,
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't want us to hear about that.
No, not at all. Want to talk a little bit more about some of the communist and socialist movements here. If the populace dreamed of a people's republic from the countryside, the Alabama's black communists built underground resistance in the South. The Eugene Debs gave voice to the industrial workers the industrial working class across the entire country. Debs wasn't just a theorist; he was a worker, a former railroad man, and a union leader. He helped launch the American Railway Union, leading the Pullman strike of 1894, one of the largest strikes in U.S. history. When federal troops crushed it, Debs was imprisoned, and in that prison cell, he read Marx.
And that's what I know about him is that he got a bunch of votes from a prison cell, right? I'm pretty sure he got the most votes as a socialist candidate, like nationally ever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And
I'll
it
have
was
to
from
double check that.
why he was locked up. I'll double check it while you keep
But
going. That's
I don't
what
think
I know about him.
that was. I didn't realize until I was looking this up. I think he was jailed again. I think this.
Oh, okay, that was the first time. Okay.
Yeah, this is the first time, and which I didn't realize.
Gotcha.
From then on, Debs would campaign not just for union rights, but for socialism. Because, I guess he went to jail and really got radicalized. He was already doing a lot of this stuff, and then he went to jail, and I guess he read Marx.
Gotcha.
And came back out, was like, yeah, I got some new shit for y'all.
Figured it out, guys. I was mad. I was legit to be mad. I know why now.
Yo, I'm surprised. How they have Marx in jail, though? Like, how you get...
Well, I mean, so what era was that? What was the
early 1900s, 1901.
Early 1900s. Yeah, fuck, I don't know. That's early.
Yeah, man.
Look, man, when I read about Marx and how Soviet Union and all that stuff like started, like the printing press and the underground, no, not magazines, but like pamphlets and like the Marx and Marxist ideology, not Marx himself, but Marxist ideology was like passed around like crazy on like the underground.
Yeah.
So I imagine that shit probably made it here.
Yeah, I think we just really don't have an appreciation of how influential and just how, ubiquitous it was at the time. Like, it was I think it was probably getting around a lot more than we really can appreciate today.
Yeah, and I think also people don't think about that, like the printing press was so like revolutionary because before that, if someone like had a book, like whatever's in that book, like I'm assuming people like it carries weight because there's a pain in the ass to make this shit, so it's probably whatever's in here. I'm going to take it as real reality. Once they had the printing press, now people are like, fuck, I can, because I remember Trotsky had this like realization, like, oh shit, anybody can hear me now. I can finally like get my thoughts out there, and like people we're now seeing this in print, and they're like, well, fuck, that does seem legitimate.
Right.
As of now, there's so much bullshit we're overwhelmed with, trying to decipher what is real and what's not is hard. Back then, they're like, you get a pamphlet that's Marxist, you're like, oh, fuck, this is what's going on, huh? Oh, interesting. Yeah. So the printing press was very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know it's like with Lenin, like whenever he was exiled, when they would get exiled in the Soviet Union, they'd just be writing these little things and sending them out.
All right.
Keeping the movement going.
Damn, I wish we could go back to that.
Fuck yeah, man. God, do I miss the gatekeepers.
Right.
Yep.
All right, some more about Debs here. So I guess, he reads Marx in prison. From then on, Debs would campaign not just for union rights, but for socialism. He co-founded the Socialist Party of America in 1901, a party that would go on to win hundreds of elections, local elections primarily, influence state governments, and most famously put Debs on the presidential ballot 5 times. In 1912, Debs received nearly 1 million votes, 6% of the national total. That's
damn.
Pretty
6%. That's you need 5% to get the National Party now. He had it, man.
Man, he was there, running on a platform that included public ownership of utilities and transportation, the abolition of child labor. That's crazy. That was on a platform in 1901.
Bro,
not that long ago.
You can take my kid out of the farm and fucking out of my shop.
All right.
What do you want from me? I'm a small business owner with a little small family working.
Women's suffrage, a national minimum wage, social insurance, and old age pensions. So he was Social Security, basically. These demands, considered radical then, laid the foundation for New Deal policies 2 decades later. And this is a quote that I found that I really like by Debs. While there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. I am not a capitalist soldier. I'm a proletarian revolutionist.
That's hard.
Yeah, I like that part.
I'm going to sample that somehow.
While there is a criminal element, I am of it.
Yeah, that's me, bitch.
Yeah, it's hard.
That is fucking hard. Real quick before you get to it, Eugene Debs holds the record for the most votes ever received by a Socialist Party candidate in the U.S. I don't know if that means like any party that is socialist or the Socialist Party.
Right.
So, but I mean, that seems like it was the biggest socialist party in U.S. history. So probably one of the same. And it was while he was incarcerated for opposing
World
War I.
Yeah.
Under the Espionage Act. I assume you're about to talk about that. I didn't know that.
Yep. Yeah, that was the next session.
So just because he protested?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what they're about to start doing, bro.
Maybe.
That's what this ICE shit is about.
Yeah, so that was actually the next session, but I'm just gonna read it anyway. But anyway, that was a quote, and then it says, "When Debs opposed World War I as a war for the rich." Also, fun fact: around the same time, Lenin was opposing World War I as well, calling it a class war or a capitalist war. I think is what the language he used. Yep. I can't remember. There was like I guess, was it the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks, right? I think it was the Mensheviks were in favor of the war. I might be wrong about that history.
No, I think that is correct. I think the main, if I remember correctly, the main reason Lenin opposed it outside of ideologically, it's not what he's fucking. They had just done the revolution. Like they were still kind of fighting. Like they were still kind of in the middle of a civil war in Russia. And They were trying to figure that shit out. Lenin's like, I'm not. Why the fuck will we go over here? And
I think
they were. Shit?
I think the civil war was still going on.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So like they were trying to figure out because I know they had issues like trains running through the country, and they were still trying to figure that out. And he's like, nah, we don't need to go get in this other war. And the Mensheviks were like, yeah, we need to do this because X, Y, Z.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so. So I don't know how aware of Lenin Eugene Debs was, but I think it's just interesting. If he was, that's cool. But that's what happens when you have like some sort of like a good solid ideological consistency. Like I think that they probably arrived at the same understanding, even though they weren't like in touch with each other. You know what I mean? Like, look, this is not our war, guys. You know what I mean?
And I think you see that. I've seen it in the left a lot. And I think, honestly, like think that's what organized the Black Panthers more than anything. I think like multiple of them came to the same conclusion, like right around the same time.
Right.
And they're like, wait a minute. So I think if you, again, to me, because I try to reason and logic myself into the position and beliefs I have today. It seems like if you just do that, you will automatically end up where we're at. Like it'd be weird for you to do that and then end up on the side of the oppressor.
Right.
So I don't know. It just, like you said, of course, but it makes sense that Eugene Debs and Lyndon would end up to the same spot.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was pretty much it. So I guess he ran for president again. So the Espionage Act happened, as you mentioned. That same law was later used against whistleblowers and black radicals. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I think Eugene Debs was like one of the earliest victims of the Espionage Act.
Him and that couple that they killed from Russia. Remember those?
The
Russian spies? The Rosenbergs.
The Rosenbergs. Yeah. Was that around the same time?
I think so.
I thought that was later.
I mean, I think it was a little bit later. I'm thinking like the 20s in my brain.
Okay.
Because that was when he went in jail, like the 20s, right? Eugene Debs.
Yeah. Well, he went to jail the first time, and I think it was 1901. It said.
I'll double check that while you finish up.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for him. And then, as you mentioned, he ran for president in 1920 in jail and got nearly 1 million votes again,
which is wild.
Yeah. So. That's pretty dope. Moving on, we're going to talk about the Communist Party USA a little bit here.
CPUSA.
Yeah. As revolution exploded in Russia in 1917, it sent ripples through the U.S. left. The Socialist Party split. And in 1919, the Communist Party USA was born, rooted in Marxist-Leninism and inspired by the Bolsheviks. The CPUSA believed revolution could and must happen in the United States. They didn't want to wait for ideal conditions. They dove in. They organized in steel mills and textile factories. They launched the Trade Union Unity League to rival conservative union leadership. They fought Jim Crow by forming the Scottsboro Defense Committee, defending 9 black boys falsely accused of rape, one of the earliest national civil rights legal campaigns. That was mentioned earlier in the Hammer and Hose section.
Hammer and Hose, baby.
They also promoted the idea that black people in the Deep South constituted a nation within a nation, demanding land, self-determination, and full equality. It was the CPUSA that first popularized these ideas decades before the civil rights movement caught fire. By the 1930s, the CPUSA helped form or influence some of the most militant unions in the U.S., including sectors of the Congress of Industrial Organization, that's the CIO, the Wagner Act of 1935, legalizing collective bargaining, and the establishment of Social Security were both victories won in part due to the pressure from the organized radical left.
Thank you. And now we got the CBA and NBA teams under the second apron. They can't move. Thanks, collective bargaining. Good job.
Well, what happened?
You said the Communist Party USA gave us collective bargaining.
Oh.
And that's like the biggest criticism of the NBA right
Is it?
now. Yeah. I mean, from like basketball nerds.
No.
Talking about like managing teams.
They don't like the union?
Well, they like the union. They just think the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, fucked over the way teams can like manage their assets and shit. That's why we got LeBron right now. It's like, fuck it, I'm out. Yeah.
Interesting.
But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, and let's see. But the party's tight alignment with the Soviet Union eventually became a liability during the Cold War. They were hunted, jailed, blacklisted, and infiltrated by the FBI. McCarthyism destroyed much of their infrastructure and pushed radicals into silence or exile.
Oh, yeah, and I did look it up. The Rosenbergs was in the 50s during McCarthyism. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yet their imprint on labor, civil rights, education, and culture is undeniable. They prove that even in the U.S., revolutionary politics could take root and grow in the shadow of repression. I want to talk about Philip Randolph. You gonna say something? Okay. I want to talk about Philip Randolph a little bit. Philip Randolph. Can't forget the A. I feel like he doesn't get as much notoriety as he should. That's why I wanted to have a section about him in particular.
Okay.
Very influential dude. We hear about MLK, Malcolm X, other civil rights leaders, Rosa Parks, but we don't hear a lot about A. Philip Randolph. They even made a movie about Bayard Rustin, which I heard I didn't watch it, but a lot of people on the left criticized it.
Was that civil rights? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he was part of the civil rights movement.
Okay.
He helped organize the March on Washington and all that.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. The Million Man March.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But anyway, we talking about A. Philip Randolph. So before the civil rights movement grabbed national headlines, A. Philip Randolph was laying the foundation by organizing black workers and pushing for economic justice. Randolph was a visionary labor leader who understood early on that racial justice and workers' rights were inseparable. In 1925, he founded the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, the first major black union to win recognition in the United States. So, first black union.
Let's go.
Formation and strategies that they had. His union organized black porters who worked for the Pullman Company. Heard about them earlier there. Often facing brutal working conditions and racial discrimination. Randolph's approach combined grassroots union organizing, economic pressure through strikes, and political lobbying. The union motto was clear: black workers deserve fair wages, decent hours, and dignity on the job. He also emphasized building alliances across race and class, recruiting sympathetic white labor leaders and progressive allies. Their strike in 1928 laid groundwork, but it was a successful 1941 March on Washington movement, which we don't hear about that either. There was another March on Washington in 1941,
Okay.
which threatened to wait. I don't know if it actually happened or if it was. This says it threatened a protest.
Okay.
It threatened a mass protest if the president, FDR, didn't act against employment discrimination that showed Randolph's strategic brilliance. So yeah, I think there was another march before. Look that up for me if you don't mind. Before the March on Washington, I don't know if it actually
Happened.
Yeah.
Wait, that wasn't the May Day March. Hold on. Go ahead. Let me look.
Let's see. Randolph's influences stretched far beyond labor. The 1941 threat of the March on Washington pushed Roosevelt to issue, so I guess it was just a threat, that one in particular, the executive order of 8802 banning racial discrimination in the defense industry and federal jobs. This was a major policy win, laying a precedent for federal civil rights enforcement.
So yes, the 1941 planned march on Washington got canceled.
Okay.
The march didn't happen because FDR issued an executive order banning discrimination in defense industries. So he gave them what they wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's all right. We call it off.
Yeah. Well, all right. For now. Give us 20 years. Right. We'll be back.
So in the 1950s and 60s, Randolph helped organize the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Now we know that one happened for sure,
right.
Which featured MLK's iconic "I Have a Dream" speech. And just want to reiterate here, it was called the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom.
I just saw that and I never knew that.
Really?
The March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom? No.
Yeah.
It's the Million Man March. It's the I Have a Dream March.
They wanted jobs and freedom.
Fuck yeah.
Jobs guaranteed.
Second Bill of Rights.
So yeah, that's, left out of history kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they really sanitize this history, guys.
This is what whitewashing is, guys.
Yeah.
Shit's sterile.
All right, moving on here. Some of the successes, just want to highlight it. Recognition of the Brotherhood of his union by the Pullman Company in 1937, a landmark for black labor rights, federal bans on racial discrimination. We mentioned that. National spotlight on economic justice as part of the civil rights, paving the way for integrated labor unions and progressive alliances. So I just thought it was important to mention him because he gets left out of history a lot. He was a socialist, an avowed socialist, organized the first black labor union. Like, that's somebody everybody should know. That's a big deal.
It should be like the peanut guy, George Washington Carver.
Exactly.
I should know A. Randolph.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, important guy. Moving on, we're going to talk a little bit more about the civil rights union, movement rather. We're gonna talk about Fannie Lou Hamer, SNCC, Panthers, MLK.
Hell yeah.
They kind of, and this is another reason why A. Philip Randolph was important. Like he was kind of like the OG. You know, by the time that the civil rights picks up in 1950, in the 50s, late 50s, early 60s.
They're picking up where he left off.
Basically, yeah. I mean, he was threatening the March on Washington in the 40s. So people kind of look at the civil rights movement in like this brief period in the 60s or whatever, but it was really a building up process, you know. So yeah, we're gonna talk about them a little bit. So civil rights movement. We're gonna talk about Fannie Lou Hamer. People don't know about her, and I think she deserves a lot more notoriety as well. Fannie Lou Hamer wasn't a career politician. She picked cotton. She survived sterilization without consent. And in 1964, she co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, an independent black-led formation built to challenge the all-white segregationist delegation of the Democratic National Convention. The MFDP said, if we were the ones getting beaten and jailed for voting, why aren't we the ones representing Mississippi?
Yeah.
She has a famous quote. Have you ever heard, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired?
Yeah, man, that's the Nappy Roots song.
That came from Fannie Lou Hamer.
I didn't ever do that. I heard the saying, and I assumed it wasn't a Nappy Roots song at first.
Right.
But no, I heard of Fannie Lou. I didn't know it came from her, though. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. She gave Hamer's televised testimony stunned the nation, but beyond the closed doors and party elites, including LBJ and Hubert Humphrey, pressured the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party to accept a compromise. They refused. They were outnumbered, but they held the moral high ground, exposing the limits of loyalty to parties that wouldn't fight for justice. So yeah, I've seen clips of when she gave her speech in front of Congress. It's really good. So if you guys haven't seen that, go to YouTube and find it because it's very moving. She's telling just about like what she has to deal with as a black woman in Mississippi.
Gotcha. Yeah, do that, definitely.
Yeah.
And then watch the Angela Davis video about violence. Okay.
No doubt. SNCC, we're going to talk about SNCC here. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee began with the lunch counter sit-ins and freedom rides. It was a youth-led grassroots movement and committed to nonviolence. But by the mid-1960s, after witnessing unrelenting police violence and government betrayal and systemic racism, SNCC began to shift under leaders like Stokely Carmichael.
Hell yeah.
A.K.A.
Kwame Ture.
Yep. SNCC moved toward Black Power, Pan-Africanism, and socialism. This is a quote from Kwame. The mistake of the movement was to think we could get political power without economic power. That's what electoral politics is, trying to get political power without the base.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Stokely.
So that was a little bit of a criticism of electoralism. SNCC organized not just for integration, but for community control, land redistribution, and independent institutions. They trained leaders, supported co-ops, and in places like Lowndes County, Alabama, ran independent political candidates under their own party banner. The original Black Panther symbol came from this organizing.
So that's wild that SNCC started in the South.
Why?
I don't know, because I think about the Black Panthers and that radicalization movement that started West Coast, Oakland and then like Chicago. I'm like, okay, I can see it coming out of those places.
Right.
You'd think it'd be, of course, there would be more reason to do it down here, but because of terrorism.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of hard. Yeah.
We're going to talk about MLK in a little bit now. We often forget just how politically independent Dr. Martin Luther King. And I just want to remind people, the reason I'm going through this is these are independent movements. These weren't necessarily parties in all cases, but these are people who are organizing outside of party politics. And a large reason why they were effective is because their ability to do that.
So when Democrats say, come on, we're better than Republicans, you gotta use us. There's nothing else you can do.
Right.
They're fucking liars.
Right. And also, like, that's never how change has happened.
It has never been like that. No matter what Obama says about turning a big ship. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So we often forget just how politically independent MLK was, especially towards the end of his life. In his final years, King began organizing against the Vietnam War, capitalism, the two-party system in some respects.
What? I thought it was all about race. Crazy.
All right. This is a quote from him. Both political parties have betrayed the cause of justice. He launched the Poor People's Campaign, not as a democratic lobbying effort, but as a multiracial working class movement to confront the state directly in Washington, D.C. King was assassinated before the campaign fully launched, but it was clear he was moving toward a more revolutionary change.
That's why he was assassinated.
Yeah, that's why I think he was assassinated.
Yeah, they'll let those racists go. Go ahead, you can take him out now.
Another quote from King: "The dispossessed of this nation must organize a revolution against the injustice." So, he was definitely moving in a more revolutionary.
The way he talks and like just those couple quotes you said reminds me of Ta-Nehisi Coates and how disciplined he was, like in that CBS interview. Like, look, genocide is bad. You're not gonna get me to say anything else. Genocide is bad.
Right.
It's not. It's injustice. Like, you got to speak. Like, look.
Yeah.
We're not gonna water it down. We're not gonna get in the weeds on this shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Black Panthers. Got to talk about the Black Panthers, founded in 1966 in Oakland by Huey P. Yep, and Bobby Seale. The Black Panther Party
free Bobby.
for self-defense was never a democratic auxiliary.
Ever.
It was its own thing, revolutionary, socialist, anti-imperialist, and deeply rooted in community. They had survival programs, free breakfast, clinics, education, armed patrols of the police. They had a Marxist-Leninist theory.
Yes, sir.
Global solidarity with anti-colonial struggles in Vietnam, Cuba, and Algeria.
Yes, sir.
They refused to be co-opted, and for that reason, the U.S. state made them public enemy number one. FBI, right? FBI infiltration, police raids, assassinations, including the murder of Fred Hampton, gutted the movement. Like the communists in Alabama, the Panthers and SNCC showed that the independent power is dangerous to the empire, and yet it also is the only kind of power that can challenge empire.
And also, it's the only kind of challenge that gets shit done. Because I know you know this. A lot of people don't know this. My favorite thing to say about the Panthers, their free breakfast program is why we have WIC. WIC didn't exist. The Panthers started giving free breakfast to everyone for free because you should take care of your people. And then the U.S. government was like, damn, that makes us look like shit.
Exactly.
I guess we got to start WIC.
Yeah.
So, no, they didn't go through the Democratic Party. They didn't get some legislation passed. No. They said, fuck it. We'll do it ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that's how you get things done.
That's how you do this. Yeah. It's amazing how much of like the things that we take for granted were done because of these movements.
Yeah, like
the
40-hour work week.
I was just about to mention that. Yeah.
All the labor movement stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All that history's memory hold, though, for the most part.
Exactly.
We're going to fast forward a little bit. I was going to talk about the Rainbow Coalition, but I'm gonna skip over that. But
we'll save that. That's gonna be cool, though. I like that.
What's that?
The Rainbow Coalition.
You know about the Rainbow Coalition?
Yeah,
right?
baby. The Lords, the Young Patriots. That's the white boys.
Oh,
I'm talking about specifically in Chicago.
Okay, no, I was talking
Fred
about
Hampton's Rainbow Coalition. What are you talking about?
Jesse Jackson's.
Oh, Jesse Jackson.
Yeah.
No, okay, no, I don't know about that one.
Okay, well, I'll talk about it briefly then. Right. Basically, this was in the 80s. You know, Jesse Jackson ran for president. Mm-hmm. He organized, kind of outside the Democratic Party institutions, even though he ran as a Democrat.
Kind of like Bernie, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. And he had a lot of success, got a lot of support, but ultimately it kind of fizzled out because he lost the primary and, Democratic Party didn't really absorb any of his platform. But I'm going to skip over his part a little bit. But people should go read about Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Coalition. It wasn't bad. We're going to talk about some other movements. So outside of America, I want to talk a little bit about.
Finally, let's go.
The Brazil Workers' Party.
Okay.
Because these are sort of examples of third parties who have made it into power. So in the late 1970s, Brazil was still under the grip of a brutal military dictatorship that our government supported, by the way. That's not here, but we did. But cracks were forming in the industrial cities of Sao Paulo. A wave of militant strikes, many led by metal workers, began to shake the foundations of authoritarian rule. Out of those strikes emerged Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, known simply as Lula, a former factory worker and union leader with unmatched charisma. By 1980, alongside trade unionist peasants from the landless workers movement, progressive Catholics and Marxists, organizers helped Lula form the Partido dos Trabalhadores.
Nailed it.
That's Portuguese. The Workers' Parties, the PT for short. The PT wasn't just a party, it was a movement with a ballot line. It practiced internal democracy, mass assemblies, and rooted itself in daily struggles of Brazil's poor and working class. For years, the PT lost national elections, built power, but it built power from the bottom up, winning cities, governments building participatory budgets in places like Porto Alegre, and expanding healthcare and education at the local level. Then in 2002, Lula won. I think he ran like 4 times before that.
Damn, okay.
3 or 4 times. Lula won the presidency and brought the voice of Brazil's favelas and rural poor into the halls of power.
Favelas, those are like the little shanty towns, right?
I think so. Yeah. So some of the achievements of the Lula's presidency. The Bolsa Familia program lifted millions out of extreme poverty, tying cash transfers to school attendance and medical visits. They expanded university access for Black and poor Brazilians through quotas and scholarships. The economy grew steadily, and Brazil became a founding member of BRICS, elevating global South diplomacy. Under Lula and later Dilma Rousseff, the PT government strengthened labor rights, raised the minimum wage, and invested in public health and housing. Lula proved that a left party built from movement energy could govern without immediately betraying the base. So
who would have thunk it? Without immediately betraying the base.
Right.
That's hilarious.
So
Democrats take note.
Yeah, take some serious notes.
AOC, hope you're listening.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that Lula's started out as a union organizer. I think that's important history. I mean, again, he lost a bunch of times. That's one thing that I think we have to accept and understand. Like these movements,
process.
Yeah, it's a process. You know, as we mentioned earlier, Eugene Debs ran several times, even from jail.
Yep.
You know, it's a struggle.
It's a struggle. Class struggle. That's what it's called that.
Exactly. All right, gonna talk about Venezuela.
Are you done? Real quick before you.
Yeah.
Trump just the other day threatened to impose a 50% tariff on Brazil because they're prosecuting Bolsonaro, their last president. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the last president, who's right wing Trump. Fascist piece of shit.
Right.
I'm not sure what the trial is about, but I just saw that the other day and I pulled it up just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. But yeah, so Lula said Brazil would not accept being abused by anyone. So Lula's like, so now that he's back in power, he's like, fuck that. And yeah, prosecute Bolsonaro.
Yeah, they're prosecuting him for doing a coup or attempting to do a coup or talking about it or trying to organize one or whatever.
Just a little light treason.
Right. All right. Moving on, we're going to talk about the Bolivarian Revolution a little bit. Hugo Chavez.
Hell yeah.
Rose from Venezuela's military ranks and grassroots activism inspired by Simón Bolívar, anti-imperialist legacy. In 1997, he founded the movement for the Fifth Republic, rallying the disenfranchised around the platform of popular sovereignty, social justice, and opposition to corruption. Chavez's 1998 election victory shattered decades. Also, this isn't here, but he did try like a military style coup before that, which
Before the elections?
before he ran the right way, I guess. He tried a coup.
Try to pull a Che Guevara, Fidel Castro coup.
No, because I think he was actually in the military, so he tried to do like a military style coup.
Wasn't Castro in the military? I don't know.
I don't think he was.
All right, go ahead.
But yeah,
I got you.
So that
like
failed.
A classic military coup.
Yeah, that failed. I don't know if he went to jail. Somehow he managed to run legally in an election just a few years later and won.
Fucking Mandela did too, man. You know.
Well, that took like 30 years.
Yeah, that was a long time. Yeah.
So anyway, Chavez's 1998 election victory shattered decades of the two-party dominance, propelled by a powerful strategy of mass mobilization.
There you go.
His government established community councils in Bolivarian circles, local bodies that gave everyday Venezuelans direct influence over governance and social programs. In 2007, NVR joined with other leftist groups to form the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, PSUV, uniting the revolutionary forces into a broad socialist party. Some of their successes here: resource nationalization. Chavez nationalized the oil industry, channeling profits into social missions that cut poverty, improved health care.
We stopped liking them.
Exactly. And expanded education access. The creation of grassroots councils allowed communities to manage budgets and develop projects, fostering a sense of ownership and power. PSUV forged strong ties with unions and rural organizations, building a multi-class coalition that anchored its support. Venezuela under Chavez led regional efforts against imperialism, creating alliances like the ALBA to resist U.S. influence. Yet the PSUV faced significant challenges, economic challenges due to sanctions, primarily from the U.S., and some factionalism within the party as well, especially after Chavez's death. Nicolas Maduro assumed leadership amid a worsening economic turmoil, but he continued a lot of the same policies. Despite economic hardship, Maduro maintained key programs like subsidized food distribution and free healthcare to millions. These grassroots defense forces helped maintain PSUV's control in volatile political conditions, deterring opposition advances. Maduro's government preserved a core base through loyalist grassroots networks and bolstered international alliances with other left governments in powers like Russia and China. PSUV has committed to win elections despite opposition, boycotts, and external pressure, preserving formal political control. So I think this is a good example of, Maduro gets a lot of criticism primarily from like Western media. Mm-hmm. He just had an election that he won recently. And one thing that PSUV has done well is it's kept in touch with the grassroots. It mobilizes people. Like the councils that it has, mm-hmm. like they are deeply connected to the people.
Well, earlier you mentioned popular sovereignty, and that's mm-hmm. essentially just power to rule coming from the people.
Right.
So you got to stay plugged into the people if that's one of your things.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, despite all the pressure, they've been able to stay in power, and I think that's just a testament to how much they did for the people, even though things in Venezuela are not great economically. Again, this is due to the sanctions, but despite all that, they still voted to keep Maduro in power, and I think that's just like a political education that the grassroots understands that it's about their independence and sovereignty.
And as bad as it got, he kept those programs. That's the
Yeah,
thing. Like in
and he
America,
kept
we'd be like,
all-
oh, fuck, they got to go. We got to cut that shit.
Right.
Austerity. We got to do this, fix
Right.
it. He's like, no, fuck that. So, of course, yeah, people are like, yeah, it sucks. It's rough. But, like,
Right.
we prioritized us.
Right.
He prioritized us. Of course, we ride with him.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. Important lesson.
Yeah.
All right, Mexico. Mexico.
Mexico. Talking about EZLN?
Who?
The Zapatistas?
No, this is more about the Morena Party.
Okay. I'll talk about them another time.
Yeah, but I did mention them a little bit here, I think.
Okay.
In the early 2010s, Mexican political establishment was cracking under the weight of corruption, cartel violence, and decades of neoliberal reforms that gutted public institutions and deepened inequality. Out of the crisis came AMLO, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. He made a decisive break with the traditional parties, even with the center-left PRD, which he had once led. By 2014, he formed Morena, and I think that actually means like dark-skinned woman in Spanish.
That's a song. Morena, da da. Oh, fucking
Yeah.
Boniqua, Morena. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. There you
Okay, yeah. He formed the Morena Party, the Movimiento Regeneración Nacional. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but
you did. Nailed it. Perfect.
National Regeneration Movement is what I guess what their motto or brand was. Not just as a political party, but as a mass popular project. AMLO didn't just want to win elections. He framed Morena as the fourth transformation of Mexico in the lineage of independence, the 1850s liberal reforms, and the Mexican Revolution. So he kind of said, this is our ongoing process of revolution. We're continuing that.
Yes.
AMLO's strength was his ability to unify the poor, the working class and rural community, small farmers, progressive intellectuals, and urban reformers into a single national force.
Impressive.
While his critics scoffed at his populist style, there's that word again, it was precisely this anti-elite language and deep ground game, organizing neighborhood assemblies and listening tours that gave Morena its power. In 2018, AMLO won the presidency in a landslide, but unlike previous center-left leaders, he didn't just govern as a manager of capitalism in crisis. He set out to redistribute power and restore sovereignty. Some of the reforms under the AMLO and Morena, universal social programs were rolled out with pensions for elderly and disabled, student scholarships and youth apprenticeships that created pathways out of poverty. The minimum wage was more than doubled after decades of stagnation. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
A major labor reform law in 2019 replaced corrupt corporate-friendly unions with worker-led democratic unions, one of the most important labor victories in Mexico in decades. AMLO expanded public control over oil and electricity, rebuilt refineries, and pushed back against foreign energy privatization. He tackled elite privilege with budgets to cut to bloated bureaucracies, ended golden parachutes for top officials, and shifted federal investment towards Mexico's historically neglected South. So he actually drained the swamp. That's what draining the swamp sounds like, huh?
It's so funny
Actually,
that they went from drain the swamp to alligator Alcatraz.
That's funny to think about that. This is a quote from him. "We are no longer the government of the rich. We are the government of the people," AMLO. And then Claudia Sheinbaum, his predecessor, was just elected in the Morena Party in 2024. Proved its staying power. Mexico City's former mayor became the first woman and first Jewish president of Mexico. She's a scientist and a longtime progressive. Sheinbaum maintained AMLO's core commitments, but brought her own priorities: climate policies, gender equality, modernization. She set ambitious renewable energy targets, expanded electric transit. Her cabinet was the first majority woman cabinet in Mexican history, and she promised to deepen public health and housing access, especially in rapidly urbanizing poor areas. So that's the Morena Party. Shout out to them.
Hell yeah.
She's just got power, and I think she actually won with with a higher percentage of the vote than AMLO did.
Nice.
So that's just a testament. When you do stuff for the people, they will come out and support you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you Democrats, you talking about why we lost, y'all ain't do nothing for the people.
What we need, Democrats, is an agenda of abundance. And if you just do abundance for the people, then they will it's fucking around.
No, we don't need abundance.
No, we don't need abundance. But yes, do things for the people. One of my favorite quotes, not even a quote, but an example from politics is, if you give people something, they won't let you take it away. For example, conservatives give them Medicaid or Medicare, even though they're hating government spending, hate government, yada, 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 don't like it. You give it to them and then say, okay, now we take it away. They're like, no, we're going to have that.
Right.
Like, if Obama had balls and just stood on his shit and gave us free health care, no matter what they said, say, fuck it, we're forcing it through. I got a mandate, both houses. It would have never gone anywhere. People would be like, oh shit, turns out I do like this. You got to give shit to the people. Do shit for the people.
Right.
They're not, I don't know, whatever. Again, I'm talking like the Democrats are trying to do something. Well, I know they're not.
Right. That's not their ideology.
No, it's not.
All right, where we at of time? I'm about to...
We're at an hour and 15 minutes.
We're at an hour? Okay.
Wrap it up.
Yeah. I was going to say, it feels like it's been a minute. All right.
Yeah.
So, I did want to talk a little about the Zapatistas, since you mentioned them.
Oh, yeah.
You see, in January 1, 1994, the day after NAFTA took effect, the Zapatista Army of National Liberation declared war on Mexican state, but instead of seizing power, they built power from below. Their tactics: autonomous communities governed by direct democracy, women's liberation embedded in the movement, education, healthcare, and land reform implemented without the state support, and a refusal to join electoral party politics, even the Morena Party. The Zapatistas didn't take power; they created it from below.
They essentially annexed a little section of Mexico
Yeah.
and said, this is ours now. And we will take care of ourselves, and you will not fucking come here.
Yeah.
And in Mexico, eventually, like, their government was like, all right, fuck it. I guess we're just going to leave them alone.
Right.
It's awesome.
They're still autonomous to this day.
Love
There's also the Rojava. Have you heard about the Rojava movement?
Never heard of them.
Just a little part about them. In the chaos of the Syrian civil war, Kurdish and allied left forces in Rojava declared a new political model: direct democracy, gender parity, and ecological sustainability. Militias defending communities from ISIS and state repression. Their ideology draws from Murray Bookchin, who I think was a anarchist.
Hell yeah.
And Abdullah Öcalan, blending libertarian socialism, feminism, and communal governance.
The libertarian socialism is like
It's
classic
kinda like,
anarchy.
yeah. Despite war and isolation, Rojava has maintained its independence. It's not perfect, but it's one of the most advanced experiments in anti-capitalist governance today. So I just thought those two little movements were worth mentioning, just because like they are completely removed from like party politics. Like you said, They just said, we're gonna kind of do our own thing and take care of ourselves. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I had a little bit more here, but it's going a little long. But essentially, the point of this was to talk about the power of independent movements to make significant change in society. And frankly, they've always been instrumental in making changes, progressive changes in society.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's a good word. They're the drivers of a lot of this change that we don't even understand and take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when you hear people talking about third parties, how they're not viable, or they're not this or not that, it's really, I think it's a lack of understanding of history. And I'm, just to be full disclosure here, I'm guilty of it as well. Like I used to think the same way. Like third parties, it's a waste of your vote. You're throwing away your vote.
I'll hold my nose and vote for Biden. I did the first time.
Yeah, I voted for Clinton and Biden.
Yep, and Obama.
And all that. But I think the only way we're going to see any real change is it's going to be outside of the party system. Forming either some kind of new party, or having different types of movements outside of party politics that gain enough momentum and are independent. I mean, again, as soon as you accept your role in one of these institutions, your movements will die.
You've been compromised.
Yeah, you've been compromised. So I just don't think, we were talking about Mamdani last episode. That's what I'm concerned about. Like, if he becomes a Democrat, if he plays the game, it's their game. They're going to win it every time. You can't play their game. If you're going to actually challenge the party, that's one thing. But they're going to try to end you.
You have to be, if you want to be a part of the party, you want to try to make a Tea Party move or something, you have to be antagonistic at the very least to the existing party structure,
right,
from in entirety. That's what they say David Hogg is trying to primary Democrat type shit.
Right.
But like Mamdani would have to be like, okay, call me a Democrat or whatever, but we're remaking the Democratic Party, and we don't believe in all this shit. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, neoliberalism. We're not with that anymore.
Right.
You could try to do that, but as long as he stands on his principles, I don't give a fuck what party. It doesn't really matter. Like you said, like, people think the third party thing is futile. People are like, yeah, she's not great, or this Democrat is not great, but the other side is just so crazy. And like, that's not, the time is ripe for a third party to step up, because that's all the Democrats have right now. It's like, we're not crazy like those guys. Vote for us. But we're not going to fix anything. And actually, we're going to let those crazy guys slowly make shit worse.
Absolutely.
We have, that has to be highlighted. You can do it as a Democrat. I'd rather you do it as an independent, like you said. And just work outside of we don't need to work inside of the party, or not the party structure, the fucking election structure. Like, we don't need to participate. All these movements that you just listed, it's like, fuck it, we'll just do it ourselves.
Yep. I think that's going to be the vehicle for change. Like I said, I've pretty much given up on the Democratic Party. I mean, to the extent that I have any hope, if you will, it's people like Mamdani. I mean, that's pretty much it, honestly.
Yeah.
Seeing his campaign has given me a little bit of hope that
the way he ran it was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. That should be
the playbook.
Yeah, that should be the playbook. Exactly.
Fuck abundance. Throw that playbook in the trash. Watch the videos of Mamdani walking around NYC and asking people,
right,
what do you want? Oh, it turns out that's what I'm running on.
Yeah.
That's
Beautiful.
the socialist thing, and I'm cool to say that.
That's how it should be done.
Easy.
But as you mentioned, if he's not antagonistic, rubber is gonna meet the road at some point here. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be interesting to see how it actually plays out. What strategy he takes, because if he thinks he can be cordial and I'll just be nice and I'll keep smiling and they'll sort of accept me into the fold, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, they're never gonna accept you, dude.
So I don't think he's that naive, but
me neither. He seems like he knows what the fuck he's talking about. He's an academic, a little. Or at least his dad was an academic.
His dad was academic.
But he has experience growing up overseas, and yeah.
Right. But yeah, third parties are the way, I think, or third independent institutions and organizing, whatever it is going to be significant part of any change we see. And if Mamdani wants to be successful, he has to keep the same energy even throughout. If he wins the mayoralship, he's got to keep doing what he was doing during the campaign, going to the people, because they're going to try to block everything he does.
Yeah.
So he's going to have mass organizing, go to New Yorkers and say, look, I want to do these things, but they won't let me. I need you guys to mobilize. Let's go outside the governor office or like whatever. We going to figure something out. We got to put pressure on them.
What's the mayor version of executive orders?
I don't know if there's one.
I'll think that one. But yeah, put the pressure on. like you said last episode, highlight what you're trying to do and who it is that's stopping you from doing it. Mm-hmm. You're in New York City, bro.
Right. Yeah. And I wanted to quote this Lenin quote here. This is from Left Wing Communism and Infantile Disorder. This is one of his something he wrote.
Okay.
We participate in parliaments not to support them, but to unmask them. The working class must learn to use the tools of the bourgeois state in order to expose its contradictions and win over the masses. So I think that's what Mamdani needs to do.
Yeah, so it's not so much as you're using the system to change it. You're using the system to highlight the problems.
Right.
And by doing that, you can say, okay, we should stop doing it this way.
Right. I think what I would love to see, best case scenario, is like, I don't know if this is best case scenario, but this would be an interesting development if it happens this way, is if Madani gets blocked and he says, all right, I'm not going to Democrat anymore. I'm starting something
I tried.
different.
Turns out they're not coming with me. Yeah,
right.
Starting my People's Party or whatever.
Because that's what they're telling them to do. You remember I showed you that clip of Cuomo doing a rant on his podcast. Oh, you're not a Democrat.
Yep.
You're not a capitalist. No.
Lean in.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Exactly.
There's a reason, buddy. You're not my dad.
Right. So I think it would be great if he gets all this notoriety and attention, tries to make changes, they block him. He says, all right, hey guys, it's the Democrats that are blocking me. And because of that, I'm starting something new, or I'm going to, do work with the DSA or whatever it is, and we're going to do our own thing. And if he highlights those contradictions, I think that could be sort of a groundswell for more of that energy.
That's the best strategy. If he does it, even if he does do it successfully, it's going to be a crazy propaganda campaign about misinformation. It's going to be hard. It's going to be easy for people like us to be like, yes, like how he's highlighting the contradictions, but they're going to muddy the waters, both conservative media and Democratic media. It's going to be, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that people will be able to look at this and see what's going on. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Big spotlight, New York.
For sure. But yeah, that's it. I'm done. I know. Sorry, I took the whole...
You good? That's perfect. Actually, one very last thing before we go. You mentioned A. Randolph. What was his name?
Yeah, A. Philip Randolph.
A. Philip Randolph. And you mentioned... MLK. Using lobbying. And people hear the word lobbying and assume that means rich people manipulating the government. Lobbying is a tool that used to be used by like unions and like mass like MLK left organizations to influence the politicians. Like lobbying, if you're going to actually try to do things through the infrastructure, you're not going to do the independent shit that we just talked about. This is why unions are so important, because you can pull money and then lobby. You break up the union, you like break that whole tool for the left.
Right.
So I just feel like that's something that I wish people would. It's like same way with propaganda. Propaganda doesn't always mean bad. Like people understand the definitions of the words, and then we can start using these tools properly. Absolutely. At least on our side.
Right.
But yeah, that's it, man. Any final words?
Nah, that's it.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, holla everybody. Power to the people. Peace to the gods and the earths. Go out there, start a revolution. Let me know where you at. I'll meet you there.
There's no way to be committed to nonviolence in the middle of the most violent society that history's ever created. I'm not committed to nonviolence in any way.
The Republican Party and the Democratic Party are beholden to the interests of monopoly capitalism in this country.
The capitalist European and North American powers have carved out and taken the timber, the flax, the hemp, the cocoa, the rum, the tin, the copper, the iron, the rubber, the bauxite, the slaves, and the cheap labor. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are not underdeveloped, they're overexploited.
Liberals are, at times, allies. At times, they're unreliable allies. So I don't want to just whitewash them. You've got to proceed quite cautiously with liberals.
The man or woman who knows the least about communism is the man or woman who wants to know the least
that done, so we can behave like the army we proclaim to be and lay down our lives for our comrades.